We're beginning a process of looking at quadratic expressions and equations. And as we begin this journey, we're first going to be working here in this little chapter section on adding and subtracting polynomials. But before we do, first thing we're going to do is identify some polynomials. And so when we're identifying a polynomial, one, is it a polynomial? And then second, what is the degree of either a monomial or a polynomial? Now we can have monomials and we can have binomials and we can have trinomials and so on and so forth. And then sometimes we'll see an expression that is not a monomial or binomial or a polynomial, even though it on first appearance may seem so. So here we've got four examples, and we're going to identify a polynomial, whether it's a monomial or a binomial or a trinomial. And then that being the case, if it is one of those, what is the degree of the monomial, binomial, or polynomial? So let's see, we got this first one here where we've got just x. Now, this would be a monomial. It's just a variable by itself. There's no constant. It is, in fact, we would say it is a linear term. And the degree, what about the degree? Well, it's just x by itself. I don't see anything there. And when that is the case, then this is assumed then to be x to the first power. So we can say then that yes, this is a monomial, and its degree is 1. All right, well, let's look at this second term down here on the bottom. I got negative 3y squared minus 2y plus 4y minus 1. Well, in looking at this, I can combine some like terms. I got three types of terms in this expression. This negative 3y squared is a term, and then I've got a 2y and a 4y, and those are like terms. It's just y to the first power, so I can combine those. And then lastly, I got negative 1 sitting out here as a constant. So I'm going to go ahead and combine the like terms before I get into whether it's whether it's polynomial or not. And so I'm going to go negative 3y squared. And then I got negative 2y plus 4y. Well, that's going to be plus 2y when I combine those like terms. Minus 1, negative 1 being the constant. All right, well, this is, in fact, a polynomial. So, yes, and it's a polynomial. And then in identifying the degree, I see here that I've got a y squared. And so when I'm identifying the degree, it's the greatest degree of any term. And so my degree here is 2. Now the third expression up here at the top right, we got 5rx plus 7tuv. We got a bunch of variables in there. But it is actually a binomial. So we're going to say yes. This is a binomial. But now what about the degree? Well, everything's to the first power. R to the first, x to the first. And then you got t to the first, u to the first, v to the first. Everything's to the first power. But when I've got multiple variables like that, I add up all the degrees of those, in this case, 3 variables. So I got t to the first, y to the first, v to the first, and therefore the degree of this term is 3. And then lastly, we look here, I got 10x to the negative 4th minus 8x raised to the power of a. But this negative exponent here makes this where this is not a polynomial. In fact, what a negative exponent does, as we're going to learn a little bit later, it actually is going to put that variable in the denominator of a rational term. And so that 10x to the negative fourth actually should be rewritten then as 10 over x to the fourth minus 8x raised to the power of a. But because that variable is in the denominator, then no, this is not a polynomial. So get yourself a little practice. We got constant terms, linear terms, quadratic terms, cubic terms, quartic terms, quintic terms. Isn't this exciting? Oh, yes, it is. Have fun.